10, New Orleans' very own.
Welcome to WGNO News. I'm Susan Rochin.
And I'm Kurt Sprang. And take a look. This is what's left of a used car dealership in Metairie on North Causeway after a 3-alarm fire this afternoon.
The Jefferson Parish Fire Department has been pouring water on hot spots, and this was just one of several dangerous fires today. WGNO's Rick Gogrieve is here with more from the State Fire Marshal. Rick.
Well, Susie and Kurt, a fire in Old Metairie, 2 fires in Treme, and 2 fires in Washington Parish. As firefighters took the challenge of taking down these flames, some wondered how so many fires can hit so quickly and how we can prevent from similar flame-riddled days from happening in these super hot temperatures.
The hot day began with an early morning house fire in Treme shortly after 8 this morning that left it charred, followed by a Metairie business going up in flames shortly before 2 in the afternoon. Then another Treme house fire just before 3, plus 2 fires in Washington Parish burning at the same time early this evening. With fires already hard enough to fight, the brutal dry and hot temperatures we have been experiencing over the summer have made them even harder to take down. State Fire Marshal's Public Affairs Director Ashley Rodrigue says while the weather may not play a role in starting indoor fires, the dry and hot temperatures can still make it hard to put them out.
As we know, if a home fire is going to be occurring right now, that's going to make it a whole lot more difficult for those first responders that are going to put that fire out. But also with the dryness, there's going to be the potential for the fire that's coming from that structure to spread very easily to the yard or the lawn or the grass around it.
Rodrigue says being safe when using electrical appliances and plugs is extremely important to prevent these fires from starting.
Having overloaded sockets or having extension cords connected to other extension cords or overloaded power strips. We ask everyone not to do that.
To help prevent fires from starting outside, especially near the woods, the state enacted a burn ban on August 7th. Rodrigue says that it is crucial to follow this ban until the conditions improve.
It's very hot. It's very dry. Take a look around. What is the rush in having to burn trash or burn debris right now? There isn't one.
As of now, 1 person is still unaccounted for in relation to the Washington Parish fire in Franklinton. Susie and Kurt.
It is dangerous. Thanks, Rick.
And the hot and dry conditions that firefighters face this afternoon could be even hotter come this weekend.
But early next week, we might get some relief. Chief Meteorologist Hank Allen is here to fill us in. Hank.
Yeah, it's a big might. The heat is certainly the more certain aspect of this forecast over the next couple of days. Take a look at this. Really cranking things back up to around 100 to 102 in the northern half of the area tomorrow. Now, obviously, the lower humidity of the past couple of days feels great to us, but that does tend to exacerbate that dryness, of course. When you got more humidity, it just makes it a little bit more difficult for things to burn maybe. But, I mean, just the vegetation, even though we had some rain the other day, everything is just still so dry. It's going to dry back out any of that moisture that we did get simply because of the sunshine, these hot conditions well into the triple digits. Same story on the South Shore, anywhere from 99 to 101 across a good portion of the southern half of the area, not only tomorrow, but all the way through the weekend. And because of that, we have that heat advisory back in effect across southeast Louisiana for tomorrow. So not quite the level that we saw earlier this week, where we had those heat index values around 115 or so. This is more 107 to 110 over the next few days, but still very hot as we go through Sunday. Now, you notice that lower number on Monday. That is where we start to watch that tropical wave moving through the Gulf, which could bring us some rain depending on the track of that, but still some question marks there. And if that doesn't happen, we're stuck with more heat and dry weather all the way through next week, guys. So, maybe some rain Monday. We'll talk about that tropical forecast coming up. But in the meantime, just another scorching hot weekend, very dry, very sunny. So keep staying hydrated and staying safe.
And prevent fires.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Hank.
Yep.
In tonight's crime report, the NOPD is investigating an ambush early this morning at the corner of Veterans Boulevard and Fleur-de-Lis Drive. That's at the edge of the West End. Police say 4 men in a car at a stoplight were ambushed by another group who pulled up in at least 2 SUVs and opened fire. 2 people were hit. Neighbors say around 4 this morning they were rattled awake by the gunfire.
I heard probably, 10, 15 first time, stop, and then probably like 25, 30 more.
It's very rare to happen in this area. Like I don't think we think about it too much at all. So yeah, it's like I said, we thought someone was banging on our door. That's how out of the ordinary it was.
In fact, one neighbor showed us a shell casing found on the ground. Anyone with information about the case is asked to call Crime Stoppers. The phone number is 504-822-1111.
Closing arguments begin tomorrow in the trial of a woman accused of killing a beloved bartender on Bourbon Street. Daphne Jackson from Baton Rouge is accused of opening fire on Bourbon a year ago in March. One of the bullets went inside the Cat's Meow, hitting and killing bartender Spencer Hudson. Outside of court, Hudson's mother talked about her son's love for life and the pain that his death has brought the family.
He made a mark on life and on the people he knew, and I want him to be remembered for that and not for how he was robbed of his life. It's just so important to me, and I felt like today on the stand was the last really tangible thing I could do to stand up for my son.
Well, evidence in the case includes video from inside Cat's Meow at the time of the shooting and from one of those real-time crime cameras in the French Quarter. If Jackson is convicted, she'll face a mandatory life sentence.
Jefferson Parish grand jury hands up a first-degree murder indictment for a woman accused of killing her boyfriend's 6-year-old daughter. Police say last April, Bunnock Landon killed Bella Fontenelle and left the 6-year-old's body inside of a bucket in front of her mother's home. Landon was also indicted for obstruction of justice. She's been in jail held without bond since her arrest. Security camera footage recorded what police believe to be Landon walking down the street on the night of the murder while pulling a bucket on a wagon. Prosecutors say they will not seek the death penalty.
A new report from the New Orleans Inspector General shows that between January and April of this year, more than 1,100 potential recruits filled out an application to join the force, but fewer than 300 actually took the test, and only about half of those who took it passed it. And then after the psychiatric evaluation, just 36 recruits signed up for the NOPD. 36 new officers out of more than 1,100 applicants. Why is that? WGNO's Jordan Lippincott has more from the Inspector General's report.
In a public letter, New Orleans Inspector General Edward Michel writes that Louisiana's municipal police employees' retirement system has been partially dissolved because of the significant amount of officers leaving the plan.
The city is now required to pay a fine of about $50,000 per month, but that fine increases to about $214,000 per month beginning in July of 2024. If the NOPD fails to improve its staffing levels, these fines could cost the city about $38 million over the next 15 years.
Data shows between January and April of this year, fewer than 40 new recruits were hired out of more than 1,000 applicants.
Not very many people out there are able to pass such stringent standards, including a credit history check. So it stands to reason that you would need more applicants than normal to fill 1 or 2 or 3 positions, because you're going to have to go through many more people to meet those high standards.
Among Michel's recommendations, using feedback from exit interviews to create impactful policies and strengthen recruitment initiatives by monitoring and analyzing their data.
And that's going to help them identify bottlenecks. So for instance, many applicants who apply to take the test never even get around to taking the test. So NOPD is now personally reaching out to these individuals who express an interest in taking the test and making sure that they actually schedule them.
Jordan Lippincott, WGNO News.
Well, NOPD Interim Superintendent Michelle Woodfork responded to the OIG report, saying the department is working on ways to implement the recommendations.
WGNO is your local election headquarters, and tonight we are focusing on issues Louisiana voters say are the most important.
Our Capitol reporter Shannon Hecht has the results of a new poll.
A poll by Nexstar Media and Emerson College shows that voters are looking for answers about crime, and who they believe can fix issues around education is creating a political divide. With 3 cities topping the charts for crime and some conservatives looking to roll back past criminal justice reforms, the topic is front of mind.
If we've learned anything over these past few terms of state government, crime is this like pendulum of a policy issue where lawmakers will come in and they'll say, let's get smart about mandatory minimums and other things, and they'll start to roll that back and try to save the state some money, and then crime will become an issue again, and then you'll have lawmakers taking a tough on crime stance.
The poll shows that nearly 40% of voters believe that their neighborhoods are less safe than they were a year ago. Louisiana ranks at or near the bottom when it comes to educational scores.
People that say, hey, the education today is better than what I received or about the same, they're breaking for Wilson about 33% down to 20% for Landry. The problem for Wilson is 66% of people say it's worse than when I was there, and they are overwhelmingly breaking for Landry at this point.
As the insurance crisis continues, Louisiana voters have also seen their homeowners insurance costs go up. Over half say it's a major financial burden. On Friday, I'll bring you details of the poll that show how Louisiana is leaning for the 2024 presidential race. For your local election headquarters, I'm Shannon Hecht.
Still ahead, 2 major tech companies settle class action lawsuits, and you might be eligible to get some of the payout.
Plus, a new study reveals shocking numbers for how many people in Louisiana have been physically or sexually assaulted.
And where's Bubba Gump? Probably at the Shrimp Festival in Delcambre. Why you might want to go there too. Tech giants Apple and Facebook are settling class action lawsuits.
ABC's Rena Roy reports that millions of customers, maybe you, could be getting a check.
Payday for millions of people could soon be coming, with both Apple and Facebook settling class action lawsuits. The checks won't be big, but many consumers could see some extra cash. Apple agreeing to pay up to $500 million. The company accused of purposely slowing down older phones during upgrades. Apple denying any wrongdoing, saying it has never intentionally shortened the life of any product or degraded the user experience to drive customer upgrades. Still, lawyers say the money should be sent out soon, but only if you signed up about 3 years ago.
Lawyers are saying that because over 3 million people did file a claim before the deadline, you could be looking at between $65 and $90 per person. Fewer claims generally mean larger payouts for each claimant.
When it comes to Facebook, you can still sign up to get paid. Parent company Meta paying out $725 million to settle claims that allowed third parties to gain access to users' personal data. Meta also denies any wrongdoing, but anyone who had a Facebook account between May 24, 2007 and December 22, 2022 can file a claim.
After they pay it all out, you can get anywhere from $10 to $30. But I look at it this way, it's money you wouldn't have had otherwise. It's found money.
In order to be a part of the Facebook class action lawsuit, you have to sign up by next Friday, August 25th. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
The governor of Hawaii promises to protect property owners from being victimized by opportunistic buyers scooping up land after the fires on Maui. The governor has instructed the state attorney general there to start working on a moratorium to stop land transactions. The death toll is now 111. President Biden and the First Lady will be in Maui on Monday to look at the damage.
A new study shows a staggering number of people in Louisiana have been victims of violence.
Moving New Orleans Forward anchor LBJ has the story.
Unfortunately, more than half of the people in Louisiana have experienced physical or sexual assault.
That statement is one of the more revealing stats in the new Louisiana Violence Experiences Survey, or LAVEX, conducted by the Newcomb Institute at Tulane. Dr. Anita Raj is executive director of the center, but also the research lead, and she says that there are many alarming stats.
Slightly more than 1 in 100 women have experienced the threat or use of a gun against them by an intimate partner in just the last year.
The survey also notes that 80% of the physical violence on women occurred at home.
We've seen a recent spate of domestic violence homicides in New Orleans, and this is something that tells us that we cannot wait for people to report and criminal justice to be involved. We have got to start working on violence prevention now.
Rice says the LAVEX survey also offers our state a chance at possible solutions.
Violence experiences often are starting in adolescence and young adulthood. I think we need to be focusing on prevention with young people. School-based preventions have worked. Another area that's worked is what we call bystander or interrupter behaviors. Bystanders are people where we're training community members to speak out when they see these issues. We often say nothing, and it's time to sort of say that no, this isn't unacceptable behavior.
For Moving New Orleans Forward, I'm LBJ, WGNO News.
All right, of course, all eyes on the Gulf over the past couple of days with that Hurricane Center outlook coming out. And now there's a bunch of outlooks out there across the Atlantic Basin here, as you would expect. Tropical activity going to start picking up here over the next couple of weeks. Here's the wave that we're looking at right here, though. This is down just north of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, spinning around the eastern parts of the Bahamas. Not looking that impressive. That's why it's a wave. It's just sort of a ripple in the atmosphere at this point, a little swirl of shower and thunderstorm activity that is going to move west and has, at the moment, a 30% chance of development over the next 7 days, according to the Hurricane Center, in this zone. Now, obviously, a lot of this is already west of our area, and so that's why I'm not overly concerned with any sort of major tropical impacts for us, because a lot of the development, if it does happen, would already be west of us. And the other factor here is going to be how strong that ridge is to the north. It's certainly going to push everything to the west. A little bit of a weaker ridge. This will start to drift a little bit farther north, closer to us. A stronger one is going to stay well to the south. So, you know, Monday's the key day here. We could either get a pretty good amount of beneficial rainfall or really not much at all. That's why I'm still in that 40 to 50% range, because we're just going to have to see how this thing develops over the next couple of days. Now, you get farther off to the east, and we're running the gamut of colors here across the Atlantic. So you've got all of a sudden a nice little train of tropical waves that have popped up. The highest chance of development is the one farthest off to the east. I don't really see any of these making their way into our area, so not really concerned about those. But obviously it's an indication here that activity is going to start picking up over the next few weeks. As we know, the Gulf and waters in general are super, super warm. And so you get that combined with maybe not this front that's out there now, but as we start getting into the season, you start to get these fronts dangling nearby, which is a little bit lower pressure. We know how this goes. Anything that pops up, you have to watch very closely, and you should be prepared going forward here. Hopefully you already are, but have those plans in place. Here's the way the Futurecast sees it. And again, this is just sort of a broad low here. It's not really even a center of circulation or anything like that. If it was, we'd have these little closed circles down there, but just sort of a ripple in the wind flow. You can see almost an inverted trough-like setup here. So it's a wave, which could develop in the Gulf into something more just because the waters are so warm, and it's trying to throw moisture up into the area. So really the main question here is going to be, does that ridge keep it farther to the south, or is it able to lift up a little farther north? This model keeps it mostly to the south, a couple more closer to us. So mainly a rain impact the way it looks right now. We'll keep an eye on that. Again, Monday, Tuesday time frame. But we'll see how things look as that crosses over Florida. In the meantime, pretty clear out there tonight, warm as well. We'll get down into a couple upper 60s, mainly low 70s on the North Shore. Humidity is still relatively low, so it's not that bad. In the mid to upper 70s here on the South Shore. Tomorrow afternoon, we start to heat back up pretty quick. Back into the upper 90s as we go through the day. And that leads us to our first A1 Friday night football forecast of the season. Yes, only scrimmages tomorrow. But Ed Daniels and the crew kicking off the new season tomorrow evening. And I got to tell you, make sure you're staying hydrated. If you're playing in these games or scrimmages, if you are out watching, if you're a fan, a coach, whatever, mid to upper 90s through the evening, not conducive for most outdoor activities, to say the least. We're going to be up around 100 here really all the way through the weekend. I think the one cooler day is Monday with that chance of rain with that tropical wave, and then quickly back up into the upper 90s after that. So maybe some relief from the dry conditions Monday, guys, depending on where that wave goes. But in general, just another hot 5 to 7 days ahead.
We can hope for relief.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hank.
Coming up, a big festival about shrimp and more. We'll take you there in tonight's Destination Louisiana.
Weekend. How about a trip to Cajun country?
The Delcambre Shrimp Fest is underway. Reporter Daniel Johnson is there in this week's Destination Louisiana.
If you're looking to enjoy great food, local entertainment, all while being in the midst of royalty, well, you may want to pay a visit to Delcambre, Louisiana. In this Destination Louisiana, we're talking all things the annual Delcambre Shrimp Festival.
When you come to the Shrimp Festival, you're never going to feel like you're talking to a stranger. You're going to hear welcome to Delcambre from every booth, and they're going to try to point you in the best direction to have the best absolute time at the festival.
A 5-day festival that brought crowds from near and far for the last 70 years.
The best 5 days of your life.
The festival was an original project to raise funds for the Delcambre Fire Department. Jason Miguez, vice president of the Delcambre Shrimp Festival, says the festival has continued to support community projects ever since.
The money that we raise, we donate back to various organizations within the community.
Keeping everything local, all of the food.
Fried shrimp, boiled shrimp, fried shrimp po' boys, sauce piquant, we got a shrimp pasta, we got a jambalaya.
Entertainment.
Country music, Zydeco, Swamp Pop.
And even its royalty are from the town.
You don't usually think people would freak out for a Delcambre girl or this little bitty town and this little bitty festival, but I realize it keeps that industry within Delcambre alive, whether we have 2 boats or 1,000.
The 5-day festival kicks off August 17th through the 21st. Visit the Shrimp Festival website for all you need to know.
Still ahead in sports, 2 Prep Powers take their teams out for a test run. Highlights next with Ed Daniels.
In the preseason, the joint practices are often better than the games. The Saints had their moments in the first of those 2 practices against the Chargers Thursday. Saints rookie receiver A.T. Perry, a 6th-round pick, continues a stellar week. Perry with a nice sideline grab to go along with his 6 catches against the Chiefs last Sunday. And Derek Carr found Chris Olave deep, something Saints fans hope they see a lot of this fall.
You know, when you got two good teams going back and forth like it has been in camp, you know, our defense versus our offense, it's been back and forth. It's been, you know, a lot of competition, and I fully expected that, you know, over here with this defense because I've played them, man, and they're a good group.
Carr also connected with Michael Thomas and was then asked about the Saints receiver who set an NFL record 4 years ago for catches in a season.
He's still a heck of a football player because I don't know any different, you know, from what I've seen. He looks like Mike Thomas, you know, and I keep saying that because that was my expectation when I got here. Is he plays violently, he's strong at the catch point, he's able to separate, and he's a great competitor. And so for me, you know, what I expected out of Mike Thomas, I've seen. You guys would know better than I do, but just being around him just a little bit, I've loved every second of it.
Temps in Southern California reached the high 70s Thursday. Derek Carr put that into perspective.
Feels like our indoor.
Derek Carr referring to the Saints' air-conditioned indoor practice facility. Complete highlights and Carr's interview on our website right now at WGNO.com. Scrimmage action on a Thursday night, a tradition in itself. Ponchatoula against Rummel. Joe Yenny Stadium, Ponchatoula would open the scrimmage with the ball, and on the 7th play of the scrimmage, number 7, Bishop Davis keeps. On the read option, he's gone 65 yards for a touchdown. Now we move on to the live quarter. Rummel driving with 1:30 to play. Gennaro Buggage connects with Christopher Wallace. It's a 15-yard gain down to the Ponchatoula 10. Scrimmage ends with a 6-yard touchdown run by the senior, Jaden Martin. Rummel wins the live period 7-0.
I don't know if we'll see a defensive line that looks like that the rest of the year. So that was a good test for us in our running game and up front. And, you know, Coach Willie does a good job of having them ready, and their quarterback was a good little athlete. And so that was good to see. I think that's good prep work for us.
Ponchatoula coached by Trey Willie. In Baton Rouge, St. Charles Catholic against University Lab. Only score, University's backup quarterback. Here he comes, Ethan McGlynn. He's got a path to the end zone, and he takes it for the score. Comets again play outstanding defense. Junior defensive end Shane Zimmerman with a tackle for a loss. And tomorrow night we kick off the 32nd season of Friday Night Football, always presented by the All-State Sugar Bowl, NOLA 38-11 and WGNO at midnight. September 3rd, LSU against Florida State. Live on WGNO and ABC. Kickoff 6:30 our time, Sports Zone before and after the game. And the Pelicans' regular season schedule out. New Orleans opens at Memphis October 25th, home against the Knicks 3 days later.
So we know who they're going to play. We just wonder who's going to be playing for them and for how many games.
Well, you know what? That has been a prevailing question. And until they get that question figured out, they'll be what Churchill said about Russia, an enigma wrapped in a riddle.
All right. We'll take that to the basketball court then. All right. Thank you, Ed.
And thank you for watching WGNO News.
We will see you tomorrow at 5.